playing the game, attack them early on, go for a lot of these plays. But they did then get caught up in that pace, and it being a little bit different from what we normally associate with the team was a little bit evident in some of the decisions that they did end up making, as we're talking about some of the fights, not tracking cooldowns as closely as you would look for, and kind of rushing in to some of the places where Cloud9 actually greatly excel. Here's another look at Champ Select, though. For first time here, we let up the Graves go through. Santorin will pick that one up extremely quickly. I've been watching him recently this last week in solo queue. He's been playing a lot of carry junglers and carrying a lot of the super high challenger games very hard. So I'm excited to see Santorin on a jungle champion that can get a lot of early pressure, make use of red buff and the extra range with your phase rush to try and punish your opponents, and see if FlyQuest can play around him again, because it worked well in game number 1.
I'm very interested to see how the draft changes, because this is the first time today we will be seeing the teams swap sides. FlyQuest prioritizing that Graves for first pick, and Cloud9 is not gonna change a thing. It is the Ezreal Yuumi once again picked up for them there in the bottom lane. Kalista, Olaf, Twisted Fate, Caitlyn, Set, and Lilia all banned away. How else does FlyQuest want to approach this? The Ashe still available for locking in if they want to take that one against the Ezreal here once more.
And I think this is, once again, Cloud9 sticking to their preparation, sticking to their categorization of FlyQuest as one of the slower teams, and them throwing down the gauntlet saying, you have to beat us, before our Ezreal Yuumi scales up to be this monster fighting, multi-item power spike combination. See what FlyQuest can do about this time around. The Senna can be played either AD carry or support. I expect it to be in the hands of Wild Turtle. It does go well when you've got a hard carry jungler like Graves, and we're thinking, oh, how are they going to play around Graves? Well, slap a Shen on his back and go for those invades.
Yup, the Shen locked in again here for FlyQuest. So we're going to get to see that one
Gangplank's still available.
Time.
Yeah.
Yep, Gangplank picked up as the counter to the Shen. Not super surprised in that. Cloud9, all three of these picks are the same ones they had in the previous game, so definitely not afraid to just go ahead and run that one back. They are banning away Power of Evil's LeBlanc. It was doing really well in that second game, so they don't want to deal with that one here again. Let's see what FlyQuest wants to focus on, knowing that they still need to see the picks from Blabber and from Niski.
Yeah, definitely I'd say banning out some jungle champs here to get Graves an even better matchup, and even more priority, and just all-inning on a Santorin focus here should be the play, because that's the way they've started this draft out. Supportive bottom lane plus supportive top lane, and sacrificing some of the other areas to really build him up as a star for the team. So they do just that, take away Blabber's Lee Sin, big on playmaking for him, and the extra mobility early on really goes a long way.
Let's see what, okay, it's the Thresh banned away by Cloud9, so they do not want Ignar playing that 3 games in a row. Has had some pretty impressive plays in both games 1 and 2, so I'm excited to see how we're going to have that adaptation play out for FlyQuest here in this game. Remember, because sides are switched, FlyQuest now also will not have the ability to have last pick in the entire draft, so that will also change how things go, since Cloud9 will be able to wait and potentially go for a big counter pick there in mid lane with Niski. Akali banned out by FlyQuest, so both teams respecting the mid laner played by the other team in game 2.
I wonder if C9 grab Blabber, even something to keep pace like a Nidalee or a Kindred. A Karthus, while nerfed with the Qs, still has a pretty quick clear, but with those Q nerfs on 10-16, it definitely got taken down a notch, and a lot of teams don't want to give up that much priority. Gragas I really do like. That keeps you with a playmaking jungler here for Blabber. Very explosive, obviously can still combine super well with whatever champion Niski picks in the mid lane, and saving counter pick there for him. Seems like the same plan here for Cloud9. Possible jungle mid playmaking, while the top and bottom do need a little bit more scaling.
I love it, Kobe. I love seeing the fat man locked in instead of Karthus. Karthus, most boring jungle in the game. Walks around, he throws Skittles at chickens, he presses R. Doesn't do anything. Gragas, I love watching Gragas, man. You can make so many cool plays with Gragas. Super fun champ to have, especially when you're not seeing him all the time. He's not particularly in the meta. Blabber piloting that one. I hope we get to see some big plays out of him. Power of Evil once again on the Azir. Ignar, they banned away one of the champions with a hook, so pick one of the other ones with a hook. He'll be on the Nautilus this time around. And the last pick of the draft is Zoe for Niski.
I think denying the Thresh in the last ban there from Cloud9 and forcing Ignar onto Nautilus is a really good move, because Nautilus is so much more punishable than Thresh is. Ignar had been playing extremely well for FlyQuest, even in the last game despite their loss. So now it's going to be a bit more difficult for him to navigate these team fights, because his job of engage is very important, but it's kind of hard to pull off versus Ezreal, Yuumi, super mobile comp, and Cloud9 are showing a lot of poke damage with Niski going back to his famous Zoe. In addition to the Ezreal Yuumi, if you do not get control of this before the mid game, and then you have to deal with these bubbles flying around and poke landing, if one of those things does land, you just get annihilated. A Gangplank ult comes down on top of your head. The Ezreal plus Yuumi, both ultimates can come through. They can snipe you from really far away.
Yeah, with barrels from Gragas, barrels from Gangplank, Sleepy Trouble puddles coming out from the Zoe landing on the ground if the bubble misses, there is so much zone control on this Cloud9 squad that if FlyQuest doesn't engage properly and they aren't coordinated, the punish from Cloud9 is going to be righteous.
All right, can't wait to see this one play out, because once again, Santorin on the Graves should be a big point for FlyQuest. And they, again, took the Shen, knowing full well it'll be a Gangplank again that's going to get pressure in lane, going to start pushing you. Does have to scale a little bit more, looking for Trinity Force and stuff, but can they successfully utilize these early Shen ultimates and get that priority that they're looking for?
Also looking at how well FlyQuest is able to reset from the throw at the end of game number 2. Remember, they were doing well, and it was one big mistake after getting the Baron that cost them the game there at the Drake Pit. So I want to see how well this team is able to just sort of wipe that slate clean, be ready to go here in the third game. We know how much the ability to keep your mental in check during these best-of-5 series can play a huge role in terms of your overall performance. Santorin on the Graves with that phase rush ready to go like you were talking about. Power of Evil does have Comet on the Azir. That generally indicates that he's going more for that early bursty laning type power as opposed to the lethal tempo type of options that you see for maximum DPS later on.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that has definitely been a focus here in the trend for these games. So I'm not surprised for him to go with the more laning focused rune, because that is going to be important, showing what the rest of Cloud9's or FlyQuest comp is actually trying to do here. Ignar does have the early sweeper, so delayed invade here for FlyQuest. Going to put it to them very quickly.
Oh, are we going to see more crazy level 1 jungle violence in this game, just like we did in game number 1?
Yes, sir.
Ignar says yes. He goes after the hook, but the flash away from Sven to keep himself alive. Blabber's experiencing some deja vu, Kobe. He gets himself away. He's not going to stick around and fight right now, at least, but the buff has become impatient. Blue is walking all the way home. Now it resets. That reset was very important because it means FlyQuest weren't able to just steal this buff away cleanly. Over the wall goes Ignar. Remember, Sven's got no flash, and that is a level 1 Ezreal. Click, click, boom, with the shotgun in the face. Vulcan tries to get away, and he will survive. But that is first blood for Santorin and FlyQuest.
Ignar does it again. My goodness. Support deserves so much credit here. Him and Turtle locking in the double CC level 1 bottom lane with Senna snares, and Nautilus having 2 forms with the passive plus the hooks coming in. Even though it's more difficult with this champion, Ignar, he flashes in for the auto over the wall here. They kind of bait them with starting up the blue buff the second time. Here's hook number 1. That one lands. Wild Turtle then try to follow it up with the Senna snare and actually ends up getting Blabber, which also forces that flash and the Yuumi exhaust early. So if you're counting summoner spells early on, that is the Ezreal flash plus the exhaust from Yuumi, and Ignar just goes right for it. They see him walk into the Fog of War by Gromp. They know that he has no escape because they've seen him level Mystic Shot. He has no Arcane Shift. He's been using Mystic Shot already in the fight, plus the flash and exhaust were both blown. really good, attention to detail there by FlyQuest and keeping up with that invade, forcing it through once again. This has been a trend in this series, and once again, they do get the rewards.
2 out of 2 games now where FlyQuest have decided to invade early on, and it has been very successful for them. Cloud9 just does not seem to be able to respond to these appropriately. And especially, man, with that kill going on to a Graves early on in the game, that can be very scary for the early pacing of the jungle.
Yep, really good job utilizing Graves into Gragas, invade early. Now, the question will be, can they keep it up? Because last time around, it was also about the follow-up invade from Santorin. So they split areas of the map. You saw Blabber on Gragas. Gragas players are definitely used to getting invaded and going up to pick up the other parts of the jungle. He goes and steals that blue and then goes for the gank.
Solo going for the trade against Licorice, but Blabber is right there, and considering Solo already flashed away, he will take a little bit of damage there on the back end of things. The Spirit's Refuge doing its job, keeping him safe enough to not actually die to the gank here. Flashes him the tent emoji, letting him know he does not appreciate being ganked, and he's not really in any bad shape. He'll just farm up underneath the turret.
Yeah, he does have to flash away, so that cooldown might end up being significant. But good job here from Blabber, allowing Licorice to get the recall off. You really need to be able to finish off pushing that wave in so it'll bounce back to you, since he had run completely dry of Biscuits as well as Corrupting Potion. No more mana left to do it himself. And if it wasn't for Blabber counter-jungling the blue and coming up to help him push that wave in, it would have left Licorice with a big problem to deal with in minion wave management, since Santorin is continuing to split the map, staying on the bottom side.
Yeah, Santorin very invested in this bottom half of the map right now, just continuing to farm up those camps of Blabber. You can see he's got the challenging smite ready to go here in the inventory, giving the extra edge in any of those fights that he gets into. And now he's just starting up the Drake, should have no issue soloing that one down on his own. Power of Evil does have lane control here mid. You can see lane control also being exercised by the FlyQuest duo in the bottom side, so no concern for Santorin here. He knows he's got this one on lock. Even if the air Drake does do more damage than the other kinds of Drakes, Santorin gets it free of charge.
Yeah, the attack speed base Drake, the agility Drake.
The dexterity is not a dump stat Drake. The rest of them attack like once every 2 seconds, and that one just machine guns you.
Yeah, and it's because of the percent health damage. And meanwhile, top side though, breakpoints starting to come in. Level 6 rushed here by Solo as he pushes up. Is going to get his recall off, but Shen stand united. They're going to have to keep their eyes on it. His cannon minion doesn't have any ranged minions on it, so it doesn't die before he gets back, and he's able to clean that up as well.
Oh, it's one of the best feelings. That is one of the absolute best feelings, is being able to make it to the cannon minion just in time. One more minion hit would have taken it out, but you still end up getting that cool 66 gold. Bomby Cinder in the inventory for Solo there, just making sure he has a little bit of extra wave clear potential against this push that he's going to be under constant threat of from Licorice. Once again, Licorice with that cull in the inventory, knowing how free this lane is, knowing how impossible this matchup is for the Shen, and he'll just continue building those economic advantages in that 1v1. Blabber is on the top side of the map, just in case Santorin tries to have any presence in that top lane. It could quickly devolve into 2v2.
And Blabber does have, Predator and Flash available here, so possibly will make a look towards mid lane. Currently, Ignar with a roam timing though. As you can see, they were constantly pushing up their wave, getting themselves those 30-second windows where they get to go take looks for deep warding or for passes at mid. Once again, Ignar, highest percentage of time spent away from his AD carry for any support in the LCS. He roams the most, makes the most plays for his team, elsewhere on the map. And it was on display in the level 1 as well, which kind of got them to this point. Sven, though, on the Ezreal, of course, with the teleport advantage for lane, as Ezreal's always used, he was able to still get his tier and pickaxe recall, try and get to his Muramana transformation as quickly as possible, getting all the components so he can buy the item as quick as possible.
Yep, both AD carries working towards that Mana Moon into Muramana here. Also want to point out Wild Turtle playing with the Glacial Augment. Sometimes you see that. Other times on Senna you will see a Grasp the Undying build with a Frozen Mallet. So this time around you will not be seeing that Frozen Mallet on Turtle unless he loses to the Shopkeeper because you already have Glacial Augment. So leaves open opportunities for more damage with things like Black Cleaver, Lethality, etc.
Yeah, and versus this team, I would say Lethality all the way. You got to go Lethality versus this. This is a no-tank team. You know, lots of champions that are buying offensive stats. Even the Gragas that might get Azonias later on is going to start out. You have to build your jungle item. You have to, you know, rush for this. So Lethality could go a long way for Turtle in this, and maybe Santorin as well. So definitely have high damage potential, even though it is more supportive of a bottom lane champion, and you still have to focus on your soul generation and trying to get range for your combos.
Right. It's all about that quick burst there with Senna, being able to have the auto Q auto, just having so much damage up front like that.
Go to sleep!
Niski with the bubble down onto Solo. A very nice cast coming out from Blabber, but now the counterattack comes through and Power of Evil is looking to make the plays. He will not find the shuffle onto the desired target. He will catch Licorice instead, and now the Stand United is coming in. Santorin has backup, and Power of Evil has a kill. FlyQuest in a 2-0 game as Ignar is going after Blabber with the flash into the dredge line. This is some Chad support play right here. Going in 1 versus 2, trying to secure the kill. Unfortunately, he's got no damage. He can't do it. But man, his heart was in the right place.
Yeah, he's roaming again. It's Ignar off across the map and looking for the chase down. That's going to be some damage that does stick on Blabber. He's around, but there is about a 0.00001% chance that he would have anything to say about that Riftveil take from Santorin. And Graves, once again, used effectively with the Stand United coming down as well. They're able to chase Cloud9 super deep back out of their jungle. Solo, fancy footwork, does dodge the body slam from Blabber, but then Blabber hits a really nice cast onto him, which does force the flash. Senna ultimate forced to come through. Santorin's burst damage up front, giving Power of Evil the confidence to go in for the sweep. Does get multiple flashes with that sweep. And Santorin, once he sees those cooldowns, he's like, no flashes for y'all. I've got double buffs and a Shen ready to come back. Solo re-enters the fight on his back. And this is just putting up on a pedestal, again, one of the players from Cloud9 that has started to get the recognition he deserves. So Santorin has just been crushing it for this team for so long, putting in so much work. And now that he's on the Graves, on with the carry champions, definitely big moves for FlyQuest. They're stacking up Dragon number 2 at just over 11 minutes. Pretty quick pace for themselves. Definitely in line with what they're working for on the bottom side.
Earth Drake will be the soul this time around, so a potential shield to protect them from the poke of the Zoe and the Ezreal and some of the Gangplank barrel burst if FlyQuest is able to grab 2 more of these as the game marches forward. Solo does have to deal with Sven in this top side. Not exactly a great situation for the Shen. Being a Shen in this game just kind of sucks because if you have to lane against Gangplank, you're like, I can't really interact with them. If you have to lane against Ezreal, you're like, I can't really interact with them. If you have to lane against Zoe, it's like, I can't really interact with them. So Solo's job is to just sit there and try to farm.
Your most fun is when you get to hitch a ride on the Santorin train. Woohoo! Yes, let's go, Graves! In we go!
All aboard! The Rift Herald charging down into the tier 2 turret now. FlyQuest keeping this push going. They got 3 players down here. The Gangplank ulti used by Licorice to clear away that minion wave. He wants to protect this tier 2 if he can, but you know, I want a lot of things. I want $1 million. That means I don't have it. He don't have a tier 2 turret either. That is another objective going the way of FlyQuest here, putting them up to a 2,500 gold lead. Blabber has farmed the enemy Grump. He's popped the Predator. He's up here in the top lane looking to help Sven and Vulcan make this kill. Blabber, the one who takes the kill credit there. Sven was out of mana, so couldn't contribute a lot, and Cloud9 get their man.
We keep seeing a lot of these attempted weak side outplays from, honestly, we've seen it from both sides throughout this series, but attempting to outplay on the weak side of the map that's holding. And they do have, you know, teleports trying to come in. They have global ultimate from Senna attempted to help out, but C9 still with the burst damage, still pull off the play and punish and do get the kills for themselves. So they do get some money, like you're saying, onto Blabber this time around. Of course, they would still want more money in the Ezreal Uni pockets, but they'll take it where they can get it, most definitely.
Yeah, and talking about money, I do want to point out, you said you wanted to see Santorin and Turtle both go for some lethality this game because of the composition they're up against not being very tanky. And if you look at the inventories, serrated dirt for both of those players. So itemization on point with what we were hoping for. They will have plenty of burst to deal with anybody on Cloud9 who might get caught out by some CC from the rest of the FlyQuest squad. And now with turret plates only having another 30 seconds until they fall, doesn't look like we'll probably see a whole lot of extra money be coming out of those anytime soon.
All right, if we're making some requests then, I like requesting for like individual plays too, you know, theory crafting the combinations. First one I want to see is Power of Evil plus solo. You go in with the Azir sweep with a Shen on your back, so even when they flash out, Shen can come out on the other side of the wall, taunt people up, and you get to you know, get a big initiation and more security for your Azir getting into the middle of things. It's not all going to be you know, helping out jungle invades later. It's a really big one for some of the team fights.
Yeah, that would be the ideal synergy between these two solo laners here. As the Nashor's Tooth is done for the Azir, the Luden's Echo done for the Zoe. It's going to be up to Niski to fish for some big paddle stars as we move into the mid-game here, almost 15 minutes on the clock. 1.5 minutes until that third Drake of the game does spawn. Cloud9 will want to start contesting these soon. They don't just want to continue giving everything over to FlyQuest in terms of neutral territory. So we'll see if they're able to set up control over the area. They do have that river control right now. And 3 players are moving into the bottom lane here, looking for the kill onto Solo. Licorice and Blabber in position. Solo with a sidestep away from the barrel. Blabber with a nice flash with that body slam. Also predicting the flash from Solo, making sure he hits him with the barrel. Well played from the Cloud9 jungler.
Blabber Gragas on point again, and guess what? He's rewarded with the last hit on the kill as well, so cash into his pockets directly. He is building toward that Zhonya's for that armor for himself, and you know, it's really big too if Zoe can land bubbles, not just like paddle stars. If you put someone to sleep, there is so much punishment. We kind of talked about it in Champ Select, where if someone falls asleep, you are a sitting duck for really easy Gragas ultimates, where Blabber doesn't have to predict, you know, your flash or anything like that, right?
Takes the hard part
out. You get this rude awakening. You're dreaming of lollipops and cotton candy, Zoe dreams here, and you just get this giant Gragas barrel over your head, knocked into the rest of the team, and blown up before you even get to do anything about it. There it is, the redirect on the flash there for Blabber, trying to cover both angles, and then after the flash that he was able to interrupt there, does predict it, throws out the ultimate for your Honda Performance replay.
And now, out of the replay, we're right back into the current state of the game, which is a dragon fight. And Ignar is starting it off, jumping in, but Santorin is already dead. It is tragedy for FlyQuest, losing their jungler at the start of the fight. Yeah, Solo's in the back line, but it does not matter. The rest of the team is not able to follow up. Blabber's ulti will not put Wild Turtle in a tough spot that time around. But man, Santorin just got absolutely annihilated.
Look at that focus fire. They see a Nautilus coming straight for them with the Shen ultimate. Ooh, Power of Evil.
Ooh, 100 HP.
All right, he walks his way out after that. But the focus fire from Cloud9, they don't waste any of the early damage into that Nautilus with Shen ultimate on him. Right around the edge. Gangplank ultimate and Sven on the Ezreal scoots to the side. He snipes around, is able to just burst down Santorin as the Nautilus Shen is engaging, and then there's just no follow-up from FlyQuest. So really good kind of target selection and shot calling here. Here's another look. Ignar goes straight up the middle, but Niski hits him with a paddle star. Sven hits him with the ultimate and the Q. And that is just 3 of these skill shots, all focused on the same target, focusing your DPS around the tank players onto the priority targets of your opponents. So critical in this. And they just surgically remove the follow-up and the damage from FlyQuest. So then with the Gangplank ultimate as well, you know, Power of Evil's not walking through that. And it was just a well-sectioned off fight here from Cloud9 that they won in the first 1 second of the initiation
Yeah.
for FlyQuest.
It was over before it truly began there for FlyQuest. Cloud9 not only win the fight, stopping that Drake stacking in a really good spot here, 18 minutes into the game. Dead even gold between these two teams yet again, my friend. It is just blow for blow in the previous game and in this one now as well. Niski pushing up in the bottom lane, looking to take down the last bit of HP on that tier 1, but Solo will continue defending it. You can see a more strict tank build for Solo this time around. Has the Sunfire cape before going after the Tiamat now. Last game we saw a straight rush into the Titanic Hydra. Power of Evil using Drift Herald top side here to make sure he's able to take down the tier 1, putting some more gold in those FlyQuest pockets. As Ignar, he's on the periphery here in mid lane, but it doesn't really matter. It's not like you can engage on Ezreal and Zoe very easily, so Cloud9 can push down that tier 1 turret in the mid lane and keep this game all tied up.
And that is going to be a big key to this game moving forward, because while dodgeball is really fun in real life, it is the most unfun way to play League of Legends. And you're facing Zoe, Ezreal, Yuumi dodgeball game. You don't gain a lot if you're sticking in that game around an objective, and you only really have health to lose. So that's why you have to be very quick with your initiations, pay attention to the flank wards and attempted movements for the engage on your side, because you do have to pull it off. The longer you stick around, you just play dodgeball around these objectives, the higher the chance that one Zoe bubble, one Battlestar plus Ezreal Q lands on somebody, and you only have Senna healing really to try and sustain you through it, which isn't going to go a tremendously long way.
Ooh, very much not. The QSS also completed now for Power of Evil. I mentioned how in the previous game we got to see that done nice and early for him when he was playing the Azir before. Now he's got that locked and loaded here once more. We already saw the Gargoyle Stoneplate from Ignar, allowing him to start the engage off in the previous fight that FlyQuest wasn't able to win. So that's another big active that will be playing a role in all the team fights moving forward. Sven just continuing to always position aggressively here on this Ezreal. He knows how hard he is to kill, especially with that Yuumi permanently attached to him. Vulcan can pretty much just kick back, take a break, have a good time. Fires off the Yuumi ulti there, going after Wild Turtle, but Turtle gets himself away. Has to use the heal to do so. So it's a Yuumi ulti trade with the Summoner spell heal. Ulti comes out from Ignar onto Blabber, but Blabber gets out as well, using the Predator there. As Santorin continues the retreat, Blabber goes in, he goes for the cask, but he's not going to find a knockback.
Yeah, he gets out pretty easily with cover fire being laid down by Sven's Ezreal as well. And you can tell FlyQuest, again, they don't want to stick around in those engagements too long, lest they take a lot of damage on the exit. You can get chased down really quickly. So Blabber looking for the re-engage there, unable to find it. But that setup just 1 minute before Dragon means that Blabber won't have his flash for the Dragon fight. And this one is gonna, if FlyQuest get it, set them up at 3, just on that soul point. So they're looking for more cooldowns before it starts.
Here we go, Power of Evil. He gets the ulti on Niski, going after the kill here. Stasis keeps Niski alive. Here comes the rest of the firepower as Wild Turtle makes sure he's contributing to the fight. Santorin looking to get away, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble will make sure this fight is a 1-for-1. Ignar now eating some damage from Sven. Remember, Power of Evil already used the ulti to kick things off here against Niski. Wild Turtle has now finally joined the fight in earnest, but he's going to be knocked closer to Cloud9. Blabber doing some good work here with these ultimates, barely getting himself away, baiting Power of Evil in, and Cloud9 can continue their chase. Ignar's still got good HP, but the rest of the team cannot say the same. Sven continues the chase. A nice Mystic shot placement to get the kill to Wild Turtle, make it a double on Solo, and the Mountain Drake will spawn just in time for C9 to knock it down.
This is where it's so fun to play Ezreal Yuumi. Sven is just a juggernaut right now. He flashes over the Senna snare, just chases him under turret. He's going to finish them off under turret. Even if he had missed that first Q from Ezreal, he can just keep chasing them with the confidence of the Yuumi heal and speed up. And the multi-item power spike that he's got. Here's the attempt from FlyQuest before the Dragon's going to spawn, trying to assassinate Niski in the side here. He does have a stopwatch, delays it a bit, does dodge out on the Graves ultimate, and then the bubble that he left behind puts Santorin to sleep, allows the counter kill for Cloud9 to come through, and if you get that counter kill, then you get your extended fight that you excel in. You've got the Yumi sustain, you have the Ezreal chasing people down, and as FlyQuest try and engage to finish you off, Blabber baits in Power of Evil using his stopwatch of his own. Power of Evil stays there within range of the Ezreal, and then Sven's off to the races. Flashes over it, able to chase them down, snipes Turtle on the side under the tower, and finishes up. The rewards on the end as well, with the Dragon going their way, the bottom turret falling going their way, and Cloud9's mid-game power spike has arrived.
Yeah, that fight was absolutely huge for C9, up 3,500 gold now. They're tied in terms of total Drake count with FlyQuest. Sven's got the Death's Dance, the Iceborne Gauntlet, the Muramana, all completed. This Ezreal is just an absolute monster this game, Kobe. It's going to be so difficult for FlyQuest to try to deal. Look at the damage chart. What is this? He did more than everybody else on his team put together. He did more than almost the entire enemy team put together. That's crazy.
True, he did. It's definitely fun to play the mid-game Ezreal. Triple item power spike with double summoner spell Yumi on your back. So even though his summoner spells aren't up, his Yumi's are, and he gets the extra defense of your heal and exhaust. Definitely going to look good for Cloud9 as they try and play around, obviously, the poke and the setup here with Zoe and Ezreal. Bottom side, the split push still should be just fine for Licorice. He's got flash, even if FlyQuest decide to send multiple members to try and really pressure him. If he's left alone with the Shen, then you get to continue to try and whittle him away. Again, barrels blasting through the armor that Solo has built up. And it's kind of a trail and attempted bait here with Power of Evil. I don't think with the way that Licorice has been playing that he would be one that would take that bait, but Power of Evil is right next to him.
Power of Evil with the ulti to immediately begin the fight. Licorice tries to escape. He uses the flash to kite through his own ultimate. Licorice is getting away. Power of Evil's about to take a nap. The QSS wakes him back up. Niski's not going to find the mark there with a paddle star, but he doesn't even need to do it. Power of Evil is down. So is Solo. This game is just completely out of FlyQuest's hands right now. Cloud9 are outplaying him.
Licorice literally running circles around the FlyQuest solo laners there as he throws down the Gangplank ultimate in the middle and gives him a ring around the rosy lesson. Now Cloud9 can transfer up to the top side. No Shen, no Azir means they've got full priority over the Baron. And once you give a Baron to a team with this much poke, it becomes really easy for them to safely siege up and push 2 lanes at once, getting right up to those towers, throwing out harassment.
And that's a Baron for the side of Cloud9 as that lead grows to 5,500 gold, 26 minutes in. This team will be incredibly difficult to deal with in a Baron siege scenario. Let's take another look at how Licorice outplayed bottom.
All right, surprise! Power of Evil is behind him. He walks over, is able to get away from Solo's taunt as well, then flashes through, runs all the way back to the start of the lane, buying time for the rest of the team to follow down. And once Niski gets here, landing that bubble, forcing the QSS, Licorice has plenty of health, so he's not going to die, and they just leave the Ezreal Yumi to chase down the Shen. No further outplay necessary there. Iceborne Gauntlet slows with the constant damage and speed up. Makes it very easy.
Power goes in. Now they're looking for a kill. That's a pretty big pick on to Niski. Well done by FlyQuest and Power of Evil in particular to slow down this Baron push. Pump the brakes a little bit on the Cloud9 War Machine.
And they get a Dragon for that, for sure. Niski not being here, yes, he does have teleport, but 30 seconds left on the death timer, so he won't be here when it spawns. And FlyQuest do keep the door open for that Mountain Soul that you're talking about, which might give them some protection against the first hits from some of this poke. But in the sustained fights, Cloud9 does have has a big advantage. And Shen ultimate was used in that attempt from Power of Evil. even though he bursted down Zoe immediately and they didn't end up needing it, the cooldown will stick.
I love how Blabber popped the Predator and walked at Niski, and then Niski just casually walked away and called his bluff. He's like, yeah, I tried all of them.
Yeah, he's like, well, you heard that dragon take, right? Guess where my team is?
They're right there. He knows he's not going to do it. Blabber tried to go for the mind game, but Power of Evil was just too ready for what was going on. But Cloud9, with their mid laner back alive, will now use the remaining 60 seconds of the Baron buff to push towards his tier 3 turret in the mid lane. Then just gets a little bit of poke down onto it using the W plus the auto attacks. You see the Mystic shots going flying here, just going for whatever poke he can land. But FlyQuest are able to clear those minions out of the way.
And this is the poke game that I was talking about. It just is relentless with the Baron buff. 40 seconds left on it. FlyQuest know they've got to go for a hard engage.
Evil again. I swear this is a broken record every single time. FlyQuest is making a move. It's Power of Evil coming in from the side with the Shurima Shuffle to kick off the fight. The cost was the mid lane tier 3 turret is down. Mid lane inhibitor under pressure. FlyQuest going in. Ignar flash to the dredge line, and Sven will be destroyed in this fight. Cloud9 will lose their AD carry, and that is another big pick here for FlyQuest.
Two big ones for FlyQuest. The individual playmakers stepping up. Power of Evil and Ignar, the old Misfits, back at it again with Cloud9 on their doorstep. They make two very necessary individual big picks for themselves, clean up the kills on the carries from Cloud9, and they are not going down without a fight here, Flowers, even with the Baroned up. Super annoying poke composition here, facing them at their doorstep. FlyQuest, they've got the Mountain Soul in their eyes. That is our hopes and dreams for this game.
Let's take another look at the play here. Started off with Power of Evil getting that shuffle on the Licorice.
So once again, Cloud9 still has to watch for these flank angles that we're mentioning, and Power of Evil walks 2 control wards straight through behind him. Then Ignar, he's eyeing the minions right now. Sven, he's targeting. Okay, when he's on the other side of the cannon minion, keep watching. Where's the opening going to be? He gets the snare down from Wild Turtle to set it all up, and Wild Turtle able to snipe him over the top. So actually, credit goes to the first snare that lands, and, and that's gonna be in his favor. Turtle still landing those skill shots. Cloud9 though back at it again after the respawn.
C9 still have a pretty impressive gold lead here for themselves. Almost 5,000 gold, just a little bit shy of that. Baron is live in under 2 minutes. Drake is live in just slightly over 2. So although not completely synced up, those timers are only 20 seconds apart. So could potentially see an objective trade situation if nothing else. Wild Turtle is almost full build here on this Senna. Has Duskblade, Mortal Reminder, Rapid Fire Cannon, and Muramana. A little bit of everything. 1 lethality item, 1 big armor penetration item, 1 crit item, and the Muramana. So just sort of a sample platter of all the different dishes and delectables that an AD carry could go for.
And I really do like it, actually. With lethality heavy, with so many squishies on the opponent team, not a lot of armor. Yes, the Ezreal obviously always builds armor in with the Iceborne, and Gragas has the Zhonya's. But you tag Gangplank, you've got your extra range with the Rapid Fire Cannon for the extra safety and trying to get those little chips of poke damage at the beginning of the fight. When you're fighting versus such a long-range team, you need to also have some safety with the range for yourself. Power of Evil is a little bit away from completing his death cap on the Azir to truly get that big spike, but here comes the Mountain Dragon. It will arrive. Wait, Power of Evil is actually recalling. Does he have the completion money for death cap right now?
There's no way he would be recalling.
Teleport is ready.
Money for it. Okay, yeah. He's got the hat. He's ready to go. Teleporting in now to make sure that he's not lagging behind his team whatsoever. FlyQuest with control over the river right now. So they might face check. If Solo's able to grab this taunt, that could be really huge. Here comes your Shurima Shuffle. More CC coming through. Sven's going to be killed. That is the start that FlyQuest was hoping and praying for. Vulcan wants to get away, but Turtle's got him in his sights. Cat versus gun. I'm taking the gun every time. Licorice dies now as well. And FlyQuest just found 3 for nothing.
3 for nothing and a Mountain Soul right after for themselves. There's not even a possible answer with Baron from Cloud9 because 3 members of Cloud9 got chased down in the aftermath. No possible rebuttal here from C9 as FlyQuest with the huge punish for a face check into the river right before the dragon. Now they could start up the Baron themselves, and even though Blabber has Flash available, it will be a dream scenario if he can steal it away. Him and Niski are the C9 hope, looking for the steal.
It's them against the world. Blabber will try to contest this. 3,000 HP on the Drake. True Shot Barrage coming in. Cast over the wall. Baron is secured by Santorin and FlyQuest. Sven has made his way into the fight now using the TP for the positioning. Ignar nearly killed off. Power of Evil looking to get himself away. Cloud9 continues the chase. FlyQuest wants to get out. Solo may be declared the sacrificial lamb here yet again. Power of Evil summoning up a turret. Power of Evil has very low mana. They do not want to go for a fight here if they can help it. Solo also still alive on the Shen. Didn't have to be the sacrifice at all. Turtle goes back to the base and is able to keep the inhibitor alive too. It's a little bit slow clear, at least that was set up.
I hope we're going back to the setup for this. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
we are going back.
Solo walked around this edge. Now, if you're control ward in that pixel brush, and I don't want to go over whatever just happened because you know they all get chased down. That pixel brush in the river, you need to place it in the edge, leftmost edge of that pixel brush. And you can click on your trinket, or click on your ward, excuse me, as you're placing it. Mouse over the edge of the brush. When your cursor turns green, that's in the brush. So you just place it at the edge. As soon as it turns green, you drop it. It has to be in the leftmost edge to see that corner. So if we get a replay with Fog of War from their perspective for Cloud9, even though to viewers it might look like, oh, Shen just walked around that corner, shouldn't they know that he's in there? That ward being in the center of the pixel brush doesn't get the very edge of that range. And that's something that you can play on as a jungler too when you're going for ganks around the mid lane and placing those pixel brush of your own. Be very careful about putting it in the very edge if you want full vision of the ramp.
Blabber's going in. Power of Evil is the target here, but now Blabber's in some trouble. Ignar tanking on the front line, but Niski's able to grab the kill. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Jungler for support. Ignar's out of the picture, and so is Blabber, but FlyQuest will continue to push down the mid lane here. The Cloud9 Tier 1 turret in mid is still standing 35 minutes into this game. However, the Tier 3 turret in the bottom lane killed off by the minions.
Has really shown in this series, even on champions, like Azir. So let's get right back into it, baby.
We're back in the game, man. I had forgotten what Summoner's Rift looks like. Here we go. Everybody in the Twitch chat, we are back on board. Huge thank you to all the people behind the scenes working to make this thing run, especially with the difficulties of a remote show. I know that it's so incredibly difficult to make everything run smoothly, so huge thanks to everybody working on that, getting us back into the game right now. It has been a long wait, but we are back in the driver's seat heading forward, and we're going to see how this one shakes out. It is 2.5 minutes till Elder. It is 3 minutes till Baron. It is a mountain sold up FlyQuest ready to go.
Okay, yeah, you can see everybody with the shields from Mountain Soul group up on mid. They can just try and force it. Again, this team, FlyQuest, they're the ones that need to make the incision in the team fight, try and pull it off quickly before they are the victims of bubbles landing and poke landing from all these different sources. You can see they're trying to get some defenses here. Santorin with the spell shield from the Edge of Night, but if they push up, or at least handle the minions on bottom with Shen, and then can get a Nautilus in guaranteed engage into a Shen Stand United on either Nautilus or even Power of Evil, trying to pull off one of those Azir shuffles that you had previously been liking, Flowers. That is their way to try and break into Cloud9. Meanwhile, Cloud9, of course, warding your flanks, watching out, for that Nautilus engage. You have to have someone mark Ignar and make good use of your disengage, which is your Gragas barrel, while you try and land your early poke damage.
Still a 2,000 gold lead for C9. Sven will find Ignar as he has to use the dredge line to Spider-Man his way out to safety, also flashing away from the Yuumi ult follow-up. Gets the Summoner spell and the Stone Plate out of Ignar there with less than 1.5 minutes until the Elder Drake spawns.
Any cooldowns that Cloud9 can force out of the front line of FlyQuest is going to be huge for them. That's one more thing that they don't have to worry about for Sven and Niski in Ignar's Engage, the flash follow-up.
Now, can FlyQuest find that angle again? Will Power of Evil be able to successfully navigate around here and get one of those big engages? Nautilus ulti coming down onto Sven. He did not have to use the flash to get away. Ignar's going in, but remember, there's no stone plate here on the Nautilus. He is so easy to just destroy without that extra tankiness. Solo is not able to keep him alive, even with the stand united. And with the FlyQuest support out of the picture, there's 20 seconds until the Elder Drake is alive. Power of Evil's going in. Sven's going to be taken down. Turtle's going on a killing spree. And now Vulcan is paused.
Yeah, I believe this is where the break occurred. So we'll get back into the live as quickly as possible. But right before we came out to this pause, that was after the pick. We had just talked about the cooldowns on Ignar that they blew, with Sven and Vulcan inside the jungle. The stone plate that you mentioned and the flash, he had no way back out of that. Then, though, with Sven trying to flash over again, the Senna snare doesn't get over it this time, and they actually get the counter kill. Here we go. Let's resume the thrilling conclusion of this team fight.
Back into the fight. Turtle's able to grab the kill. On to Sven. Going ham. Don't work. Power of Evil now the kill in retaliation. Cloud9, they lose their AD carry. They take out the enemy mid laner. Remember, it is still a 2-for-1 overall because Ignar died back in the mid lane. Cloud9 has control over neutral territory of the game. They don't care about that Azir turret. It does not matter. The Elder Drake is alive, and C9 is heading towards it.
Oh my goodness. I actually just love it when it gets to this tense stage of the game. Elder Dragon on the board here for Cloud9. They do have Smite ready, but Santorin also has Smite, and he's got a Spell Shield and Dash available to get over the wall. Pick onto Solo.
Oh, Solo is taking so much damage, but Turtle's able to show up and keep him alive here a little bit. Nice chain CC coming out. Santorin going in. Collateral damage with the kill. FlyQuest picking up a big kill onto the Cloud9 top laner, making sure C9 is not able to stay in this Elder Drake pit.
Ooh, people love to call out throws on either side. Oh, they throw it here, they throw it here. But I love the punches going back and forth leading up to this. Elder Dragon still on the table. Teleport being channeled to get back out to it here for Power of Evil, as well as Niski. Now, death timer still 30 seconds on Licorice. When it comes up, though, he'll be able to arrive with the teleport and ultimate of his own. It's up to FlyQuest to make use of now the 23 seconds they have left.
I'm curious how many stacks Turtle has on Senna, because it looked like with his rapid fire cannon proc, he shot Sven from 1,000 units away. That's so much range on this Senna. Cloud9 is nowhere near the Elder Drake. FlyQuest grabbed themselves that huge buff, and now they have incredible team fight power. This could be that extra bit of damage they need to make sure that Sven or Niski dies instantly on the engage.
Yep, Cloud9 unable to delay them long enough for Licorice to be up to contest that. And once you have the Elder Dragon buff, that's the thing with these late game buffs. Like, you're uncontested basically on the Baron with the power of Elder Dragon, tipping it so heavily in your favor. With the Execute especially. Now it's FlyQuest with, again, the trifecta of late game buffs. Soul plus Elder Dragon plus Baron.
So much power on this FlyQuest roster right now. Solo set up in that top side, has both TP and Stand United to join the fight if the rest of FlyQuest get jumped on. Sven's going to continue just trying to hold things down here in the mid lane underneath the tier 2. FlyQuest back to a very slight gold lead, but it honestly doesn't matter much at all. It's all coming down to who plays these fights correctly. Can FlyQuest find another kill onto Sven? 4-4 here on the Ezreal. Has died quite a few times here this game. Turtle continuing to just land auto attack after auto attack onto this turret here with the full build Senna. Double lethality items, including an extra last whisper item to further shred that armor and make sure he is just doing massive bursty damage to anybody he sets his sights on Cloud9. True Shot Barrage will find a little bit of damage onto the FlyQuest players, but Wild Turtle with the auto attack takes down that tier 3 turret. Remember, the tier 3 turret in the bottom lane also fell earlier, so 2 inhibitors are exposed. FlyQuest has only half HP on Santorin, about 2/3 on Power of Evil, so they do have to be mindful if Cloud9 goes for some sort of a big initiation there. Blabber with no cask available to cast means one of those big initiation methods is out of the picture already. FlyQuest taking down that final inhibitor turret and the second inhibitor of the game here. Now having the teleport show up from Solo, who will be joining up with the rest of the 5-man squad. Doesn't need to split push any longer. They just want to group up and make sure they're able to turn this into a 3-inhib game and keep Cloud9 locked in their base.
And they easily should be able to do that, walking this one in now with super minions at their back. FlyQuest keeping the pressure on Cloud9. See now,
oh! Ignar's going in, Blabber's the target. Goes into stasis to stop the follow-up damage from coming through. Ignar tanking up there on the front line here yet again. Blabber with stasis on top of stasis. My man is going golden, and he's going right back to the fountain to try to heal up. Down to about 10% HP. FlyQuest, they don't get the kill onto the enemy jungler. Cloud9, they managed to wait it out long enough that the Elder Drake disappeared, and that means FlyQuest didn't get the execution to secure the kill. FlyQuest now backing as a unit. 5 purple beams reach up into the sky, and they're all gone.
And the Rift gods say, play on, Flowers. It is now Cloud9's duty to deal with all these super minions streaming into their base with no neutral objectives. It should just be FlyQuest grouping immediately right back up and going to apply pressure. You continue to just work with your super minion extra pressure, even though your buffs are falling off. All you have to do is stay inside the base and take away spells and DPS that Cloud9 are trying to use, clearing out all these minions.
Double lethality and Mortal Reminder also up for Santorin's Graves, along with a Guardian Angel. He will have no fear running into point-blank range with that shotgun and dealing as much damage as possible when this next fight breaks out. 2 minutes until the Elder Drake is alive again. 2.5 minutes until Baron is live again. Cloud9 still stuck in the base right now. FlyQuest with all 3 inhibitors down, control the entirety of the map. Sven loses a lot of HP, not actually under any pressure to expend summoner spells or anything here just yet. FlyQuest continuing to try to push up. No Elder, no Baron on them means Cloud9 is able to use Gangplank to clear a lot of these waves away, and Blabber is not going to keep himself alive with a stasis that time. FlyQuest with a pick onto the enemy jungler means now they're able to continue pushing, looking for even more. Sven gets himself away. Santorin's nearly going to be killed off, but the Stand United will make sure he doesn't lose that Guardian Angel. And now Cloud9's Nexus is under threat. FlyQuest is going for the win, and FlyQuest will take the 3rd game.
Long have we awaited, and game number 3 is finally over, Flowers.
It is done. It is finished, and FlyQuest finish it swiftly after we get back into the game this time around. They take us to match point. One more game, and FlyQuest are the first North American team to book their ticket to Worlds.
And with the way that this series has gone, with it being so action-packed, with so many decisions being made so quickly, and both sides giving openings to the other side, we are seeing some of the, FlyQuest attempted adaptations to Cloud9, who had defeated them 7 times in a row this year. Them just fully embracing trying to speed up their game and force and play out more of these skirmishes themselves and actually play Cloud9 at their game. It is determining results. It's definitely still very close, though, and Cloud9 have a good shot at pushing us to that Game 5. So hopefully we'll find out quickly.
Right. Cloud9 always have the ability to bounce back. You can't ever count these guys out until the dust has settled and everything's said and done. But for more on how the series arrived at match point, let's go ahead and hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk after this break.